Man, this just went down. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese going at it. More so, Angel Reese going at Caitlin Clark.
Man, this just happened. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese clashed. Mostly Angel Reese targeting Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese believed she could intimidate Caitlin Clark with a confrontation after that third quarter foul. Instead, she unleashed a triple-double beast who went on to dismantle her entire team on national TV.
My goodness gracious. Destroyed this guy in front of a sold-out 17,000+. Fouled Angel Reese. Angel Reese loses her mind, tries to fight Caitlin Clark. It's glorious. The season is back. It is on. A triple-double in the first game back.
When the dust settled at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, the scoreboard showed 93-58 in favor of the Fever. Reese faced a 35-point blowout, while Clark had just made WNBA history once more in the season opener. Talk about instant regret and a plan that spectacularly backfired. The moment that shifted everything began with what seemed like a routine basketball play in the third quarter. The Fever were already leading by double digits, and everything was falling into place for Indiana when Angel Reese grabbed an offensive rebound near the basket after a clear push on Natasha Howard to gain position.
If you guys didn't see, right before that play, Angel Reese had some contact with Natasha Howard. Caitlin Clark saw that contact. She turns to the refs and she's like gesturing to them. And this is all happening very, very quick, you guys. She turns to the refs, she's gesturing to them because she believed that Angel Reese fouled Natasha Howard. Now from that, Angel Reese gets the ball. Caitlin Clark realizes she is about to go up for what seems like a wide open layup. Caitlin Clark runs over and fouls her hard, and Angel Reese falls to the ground.
Caitlin Clark, spotting an easy scoring chance, made a split-second choice to stop Reese from adding 2 easy points to Chicago's total. Clark reached in and made contact with Reese's shoulders and upper body, knocking her to the floor. At first, the refs called it a common foul, something routine in any WNBA game. But then the officials huddled to review the play, and the energy in Gainbridge Fieldhouse instantly shifted. After a lengthy review, the referees upgraded the call to a flagrant foul. The crowd reacted immediately. Booing filled the arena as fans believed their star player was being unfairly targeted. Clark, meanwhile, showed impressive composure. When asked later, she simply said it was a good take, foul with no malicious intent.
Now, basketball 101, if somebody has a wide open layup and you have a foul to give, it is in your best interest to foul that shooter so that they don't get an easy 2 points. And what Caitlin said during an interview with Holly Rowe, she essentially said it was either Angel gets a wide open layup or we send her to the free throw line. It was a basketball play. There was nothing malicious behind it. I just knew I had to foul her hard. And that is exactly what it looked like to me. She went for the ball, she went across her body. Now Angel got tied up in it and she did fall down.
Reese's reaction told a very different story. The instant the call was upgraded, she strode toward Clark with frustration clearly etched on her face. Her body language shouted confrontation, shoulders squared, jaw clenched, eyes locked on Clark. This wasn't just about a foul call. Reese was sending a clear message that she wouldn't be intimidated by the Indiana star.
Angel Reese gets up, Aaliyah Boston shoves her, gives her a little stiffy. Hey, don't come at Caitlin. But look at her, Angel Reese upset. Oh my gosh. Hey man, this was hilarious. Look, Angel Reese was pissed. Look at her, she was still going out there a little bit. Look, took the jersey out. Well, what's going on?
Crew Chief Roy Gabayan later defended the flagrant call in the pool report, saying it wasn't a legitimate basketball play and involved unnecessary contact. But what happened next revealed exactly what kind of team the Fever have become. Aaliyah Boston immediately stepped between Clark and Reese, physically placing herself as a shield to protect her teammate. Boston's intervention earned her a technical foul. Yet that moment made something clear. This Fever team wasn't just Clark's supporting cast. They were a united front, ready to stand together when challenged.
I thought Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark were cool. But I don't know, man. The way Angel got up, she was like, Look at her. Ooh. I mean, she was getting after it, fam. Oh my goodness. Now, the funny thing was Caitlin Clark sniffing, walking away. Hold on, let me see if I can get a good angle. Yeah, look. Watch Caitlin Clark's face right here. Watch this.
Meanwhile, the Chicago Sky bench exploded at the confrontation, clearly hoping this moment would disrupt Clark's rhythm and shift momentum their way. Players jumped up, coaches clapped, and for a brief instant, their energy surged as they sensed a chance to claw back into the game. What unfolded during those tense seconds revealed everything about both players. Clark stayed composed, refusing to engage in any back and forth. Reese, meanwhile, seemed bent on making a physical and mental statement. One player was locked on the scoreboard, the other on asserting dominance in their personal duel. This attempt to unsettle Clark would turn out to be a disastrous miscalculation by Reese and the Sky. Instead of intimidating the superstar, Reese had unknowingly ignited a fuse that would blow up in her face over the next 15 minutes of play. The confrontation didn't rattle Clark, it unleashed her.
She came away with 20 points, 4 blocks, that's a career high for her, 2 steals, 10 assists, and 10 rebounds. Like, who are you, Caitlin Clark?
If Angel Reese believed she could intimidate Caitlin Clark, what followed must have felt like a nightmare playing out in real time. The confrontation didn't shake Clark. It turned her into a basketball force the Chicago Sky couldn't counter. Rather than faltering under pressure, Clark raised her game to a whole new level. On the very next possession, after the flagrant foul, she calmly dribbled up the court, signaled for a screen, and sank a three-pointer that sent Gainbridge Fieldhouse into a frenzy. The message was unmistakable: I'm not backing down.
Hey, look. One thing about this Indiana Fever team, you better come correct, man. Because if you try to do anything to anybody, look over your shoulder, man. Look over your shoulder. Because somebody is coming with some get back. They are taking up for each other. Even Stephanie White got hot.
With the crowd now fully fired up and behind her, Clark led the Fever offense with surgical precision. She delivered no-look passes to cutters that seemed impossible. She attacked the lane, drawing defenders before kicking out to open teammates. When defenders backed off, she punished them with step-back threes that had fans leaping from their seats. Her stat line started filling up across the board. Clark wasn't just scoring. She grabbed rebounds over taller opponents, blocked shots at the rim, jumped passing lanes for steals, and set up teammates for easy baskets.
Caitlin Clark is back with revenge and not taking any mess. You understand me? Trip dub Caitlin Clark for the first game. Oh my gosh, a blowout win, ridiculous.
The roar inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse swelled with every electrifying moment from Clark. Every basket she sank, every steal she snatched, every relentless hustle play sent the crowd into a frenzy, an unstoppable wave of noise and passion. The energy pulsing through the arena built an overwhelming home court fortress that crushed the Sky spirit more and more with every ticking second.
Please welcome to the show, Caitlin Clark. Caitlin, did you ever
What's
think
up,
you'd
guys?
be back? Cheers.
Excited to be
Cheers.
back. Don't worry. I got this nice throwback theater can.
Well played.
Caitlin Clark just surprised everyone in a way no one expected, doing it live on Zoom during an unfiltered interview with WNBA icons Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi. From the moment she appeared on screen, it was obvious this wouldn't be your usual heartwarming segment. It was unvarnished, authentic, and gave a behind-the-scenes look at everything from her transition to the WNBA to locker room gossip, to the intense rivalries in those tough college games. And, of course, it all came with Caitlin's trademark wit and charisma.
Product placement.
There we
Our
go.
show loves it. Our show loves it.
So, what exactly did Caitlin Clark spill, and why is the basketball world buzzing? Stick around, because Caitlin didn't hold back on a lot of juicy details. Everything from Paige Beckers to Diana Taurasi, and even calling out the unfounded rumors Cheryl Swoops has been spreading about the team. Ready for it? Let's dive in. It was the moment that shook the internet. 1 year ago, Diana Taurasi stared into the camera and delivered a now iconic warning to Caitlin Clark. Reality is coming. Remember that?
What will the league have in store for them when they get there?
Look, SVP, reality is coming.
Okay.
There's levels to this thing, and that's just life. We all went through it.
Of course.
And you see it on the NBA side, and you're gonna see it on this side, where you look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're gonna come with some grown women that've been playing professional basketball for a long time.
Fast forward to this year, and let's just say Diana's words didn't quite hold up. Caitlin's response? A sly smirk, a slight nod, and a confident smile. The vibe was electric, sharp, playful, and full of wit. But don't be fooled, it was also a statement.
Congrats on your retirement, D.
Thank you.
And congrats.
Now, unfortunately,
Well,
reality
thanks.
is coming to me now.
What's your big plans?
in early.
What are you gonna do?
I keep telling Sue I thought I was going to have all this time to do all these things. I'm more busy now. So if I give you any advice, play as long as possible.
We'll see. We'll get to 10 years. Then we'll think about it.
It's 10.
For Diana Taurasi, sharing the court with Caitlin Clark wasn't just another game, it was a moment for the ages. Looking back on their first matchup in Phoenix, Taurasi didn't mince words about the atmosphere. It felt like the last game that was ever going to be played. The crowd was electric, the hype was real, and it wasn't just about basketball. It was about seeing a torch being passed right before our eyes, she shared. Diana spoke with deep respect, reflecting on how surreal it was to finally face the players she'd been watching dominate college basketball for years.
What was it like for you two to play against each other?
It was amazing. I've been following Caitlin for so long and been watching her college career just in awe. And to be on the court and, the first game was in Phoenix, and it felt like the last game that was ever going to be played. There was such anticipation. The crowd was going crazy. All the people that came out to see Caitlin and our teams play against each other. It really was an amazing moment. And you talked about how, if you could play against anyone that is this new generation. So I got to cross paths with Caitlin, at least for a couple games. And to me, that meant a lot,
Caitlin's perspective? Just as classy, but with her signature edge. She remembered that Phoenix game too. Except for her, it was personal. We were down by like 10 or 15 and came all the way back to win, she recalled, pride clear in her voice. That comeback wasn't just another line on the scoreboard, it was a defining moment for her and her team. Battling against a legend like Taurasi and coming out victorious? That's the kind of experience that builds confidence, and Caitlin made sure everyone knew it.
And what it was like to play against D.
Well, I was saying, that game in Phoenix, because we only played in Phoenix one time. And it was before Olympic break. Obviously, we had All-Star there too, but it was a great game. Honestly, I'm pretty sure we were down like 10 or 15 and came all the way back and won. That was like our first win versus a team that was above 500. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Beneath all the fierce competition, there was a deep mutual respect. The moment transcended being just another game. It became a clash of eras, unfolding right before our eyes. While Caitlin and Diana might be at different points in their careers, the impact they're both having, that's something that will last forever. As they laughed and joked about the experience, it was clear. This wasn't just playful banter, it was basketball's past and future coming together in perfect harmony.
Caitlin, how excited are you for this next WNBA season? New head coach and Stephanie White. You added Natasha Howard, who Sue knows really well, DeWanna Bonner, which I know really well, Sophie Cunningham. I mean, it seems like, from the outside, this roster's ready to compete now, which is easy for us to say. We know there's a process to get there, but when you see that and you see those names come in, what does What does that make you feel like?
Caitlin Clark is heading into the new WNBA season with more than just momentum. She's bringing the heat. When talking about her revamped roster, her excitement was impossible to miss. With new head coach Stephanie White, seasoned veterans like Natasha Howard and DeWanna Bonner, sharpshooters like Sophie Cunningham, and defensive powerhouses like Sydney Colson and Brianna Turner, Caitlin knows the talent on her team. But she's also aware of the challenges ahead. With 7 new players and a tight timeline to build chemistry, Caitlin's already in full figure-it-out mode, and she's ready to tackle it head-on.
Oh, well, I mean, obviously on paper we have a really good team, but, you know, you only have, we start training camp, I think, on the 27th, and then, we have a back-to-back of preseason games on May 3rd and May 4th. So it's you have a very short amount of time to put that together, and 7 new pieces, and whether we carry 11 or 12, more than half of our roster, that's a hard thing within itself, but we should be pretty good. And I'm excited about it. I think what we needed was, we added a lot more experience. In the playoffs, we just didn't have that. We were a young group.
And it's not just her mental game that's been getting stronger, her physical game has leveled up too. When asked about that viral off-season photo where her arms looked noticeably more defined, Caitlin couldn't help but laugh.
And there was the viral picture that went around showing off your guns. Everyone's wondering, have you been hitting the weight room? Was it the camera angle? What happened there?
How did you do that? I've been trying to do that for 20 years.
AI is getting out of control. Come on.
Caitlin Clark wasn't just hitting the weight room to look good in a photo. She was preparing to become an even more dominant force on the court. Every hour spent in the gym was about strengthening her body to match her fierce mentality. It wasn't just about bulking up. It was about becoming more powerful, more relentless, and untouchable when the game was on the line. But Caitlin didn't stop at physical strength. She refined her entire skill set. She focused on adding a floater to her arsenal, powering through contact at the rim, and mastering the mid-range game. This wasn't casual training. It was a deliberate plan to evolve into an unguardable offensive weapon. Caitlin isn't just preparing to keep up with the competition, she's training to take over. Every move, every shot, was with the intention of dominating in ways we've never seen before.
Angel Reese says WNBA players could go on strike over salary and benefits.
Career you choose, you should probably look at what the career earnings are of going into that field. What I'll also say is this: every single one of you WNBA players, you better pray that Caitlin Clark doesn't get injured, because she's keeping your league afloat.
If we don't get paid what we deserve, we'll sit out. That's the bold, and let's be honest, somewhat unrealistic statement Angel Reese made that sparked a wildfire on social media. But it wasn't the reaction she was probably expecting. The backlash was swift, and none were more cutting than Patrick Bet-David. He didn't just respond, he tore apart her argument with sharp precision and a heap of financial facts. Believe me, once you understand the full scope of this situation, you'll see Angel's outburst in a whole new light.
The ones coming this year will still be on the rookie contract again. The ones that the year after, they gonna get more. They probably gonna be making more than us. No, they are.
Who's that?
I'm hurt. They are. Yeah. I've been in the meetings. They are. I need to get in the. I need to get in the field. You need to come to the meetings. I gotta get in the meetings because I'm hearing they don't give us. If y'all don't give us what we want,
Here's the situation. Reese, the self-proclaimed Bayou Barbie turned pro basketball player, is now demanding that WNBA players sit out if they don't get paid more. Keep in mind, this is a player who's still working on finishing layups without hitting the bottom of the backboard, and already she's threatening to shut down the league. Patrick's reaction was a mix of disbelief and laughter, and honestly, who can blame him?
You know what I love watching? I love watching her highlights of missing shots. She's got to be the worst shooter you've met in your life. But go, Rob, just go, give this feedback. Give this feedback here. Go for it.
Season 2, I can't wait to work with you some more. The biggest advice I have for you is going to be how you shoot your layups, period.
Layups? Bang! What do you mean? She's our double-double queen! Bang! What they say, if it's broke, don't fix it. Bang! Teaching Angel Reese to make a layup is like teaching an old dog a new trick. It ain't gonna work. Bang!
Let's dive deeper into what Angel actually said.
I want to get paid possibility. Reese has been vocal about her low WNBA salary, revealing her $74,000 a year salary doesn't cover rent, stating on Instagram Live, "I just hope you know that the WNBA doesn't pay my bills at all. I don't even think they pay one of my bills." Reese's financial struggles stem from WNBA salary not matching her past earnings, as her NIL valuation at LSU was $1.8 million, bolstered by deals with Reebok, PlayStation, McDonald's, and Coach, while a 4-year rookie deal was $324,000 with $74,000 due next season.
I just hope y'all know the WNBA don't pay my bills at all. I don't even think that pays one of my bills. Let me do the math real quick.
He might cover that. Yeah,
Is
it covers
it-
that. It
is
definitely
it-
covers that.
What is my, I don't even know my salary.
She disclosed that she's making around $74,000 in her rookie WNBA season and claims it doesn't even cover rent in Chicago. Now, for most of us, $74,000 seems like a pretty good deal. But for Angel, she's acting like she's barely scraping by. The irony? This is the same person who made nearly $1.8 million at LSU, thanks to endorsement deals with Reebok, PlayStation, McDonald's, and a bunch of other brands that apparently believed retweeting Shade was a basketball talent.
Not basketball sustained her, especially since the WNBA's $200 million revenue last season only allocated 9.3% to salaries, unlike the NBA's 50% share of the $5.3 billion in 2023. Adam, thoughts?
No, my rent is more than that. It's $8,000. I'm living beyond my means.
Angel signed to a 4-year rookie deal worth around $324,000, which breaks down to roughly $81,000 per year. That's less than 5% of what she earned as a college influencer. No wonder she famously said, "Hating pays the bills." Because, let's face it, her Instagram stories are probably more profitable than her performance on the court. At the rate she's missing shots, the WNBA might need to charge her for backboard repairs. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is out here shaping the future of women's basketball, while Angel's busy building a brand off questionable opinions and top-tier bricklaying skills.
Hey, this is the greatest Angel Reese layup you'll ever see. Here we go with the dump off, ba-da-dum-bum-bum. I'm loving it. Burn! Oh, she getting jiggy with it. Look at that, crisscross, zigging-zagging through the lane. Giddy up, yeehaw! Burn! Now I heard she's ambidextrous. That makes sense, cause she's equally doggy doo-doo with the right and left-handed layup. Bang! Professional basketball player needing to work on her layups is like a fish needing to learn how to breathe underwater. It doesn't make sense. Reese's Puffs!
Patrick was completely taken aback, not because Angel is struggling financially, because let's be real, with all her endorsements, she probably isn't. But because of the sheer audacity to demand more money from a league that, wait for it, isn't even profitable. He made the obvious point that in the real world, when a business loses money year after year, it doesn't give out raises. It hands out pink slips. That's when Adam Snick stepped in with the facts, and things really started to get interesting.
WNBA and what's her name? Angel Reese. Do it. I fully support your right to strike. So other sports have done it. So other major sports have done it. Here's a quick list for you, PBD. I put this together. Biggest sports strikes in history. 1994, the MLB strike. It was the first time that the World Series was canceled.
I remember.
You remember that? In 1998, the NBA went on strike. They canceled the All-Star game for the first time.
No one
the
knows.
NFL has gone on strike multiple times. 1982, 1987, 2011.
Adam pointed out that while the MLB, NBA, NHL, and NFL have all experienced player strikes, there's one major difference. Those leagues were making billions when their players walked out. Angel Reese seems to think the WNBA is Apple, but in reality, it's more like your cousin's food truck, barely breaking even and still handing out free samples.
Here's the catch when you're going to go on strike. In 1994, MLB, NBA, NFL, what's the number one revenue sport in America? What do you think it is? The NFL. How much do you think they make? $17 billion. The NBA, a little over $11 billion. The MLB, also $11 billion. The NHL, $7 billion.
Patrick didn't hold back. The WNBA is losing about $50 million every year, and that's not a sustainable business model. That's a ticking time bomb. The NFL rakes in $17 billion, while the NBA and MLB each bring in $11 billion. The WNBA? They're barely scraping $150 million and still can't keep their finances in the black. It's like trying to run a luxury spa with 2 customers and a lemonade stand budget.
You guys are a alleged $150 to $200 million company. You're operating at a loss every single year. You've never made money. It's called a zombie company. You're subsidized.
This isn't a new problem. The WNBA has been operating at a loss since it started in 1997. Over 25 years of red ink and financial mismanagement. You'd think the excitement around Caitlin Clark would finally push them into profitability, but even with record ratings and packed arenas, the losses keep growing. It's a league that should have folded long ago, but somehow drags on, all thanks to its wealthier big brother, the NBA.
Your question for you, Vinny. Real quick, rapid fire.
Go.
WNBA stats. Here we go. You're a sports guy. How many teams are in the WNBA?
I don't, 9?
No, 13. How many games do they play?
80?
40.
Damn it.
Who won the championship this year and who played in the finals?
The Florida Magics.
Nope, the New York Liberty beat the Minnesota Lynx.
Who?
Who exactly?
Part of the issue lies in scale. The WNBA only has 12 teams, each playing 40 games a season. Expansion is set to begin in 2025 with the addition of the Golden State Valkyries, but that's still a far cry from the NBA's 30 teams and 82-game schedule. Fewer teams mean fewer games, which leads to less ticket revenue and smaller TV contracts. It's simple math. Unless, of course, you're Angel Reese or Carrington.
The MVP. She was unanimous. She got all the votes.
Dylan Mulvaney.
Yes.
Yes.
Aja Wilson.
Oh.
You just failed the test,
I'm
buddy.
sorry.
WNBA is coming for you.
As for revenue sharing, NBA players get 50% of the league's earnings, while WNBA players get 99.3%. Sounds unfair, right? But when you realize that even with that larger share, the league is still losing money, it starts to make sense. There just isn't enough revenue to go around. And don't even get me started on the attendance gap between Caitlin Clark's Fever games and, well, everyone else's, including Angel's. Spoiler alert, the seats tend to be a lot emptier where she plays.
Yes, it is unrivaled. It is also unwatched. Look, let's be honest, we can sugarcoat it all you want, but if you don't have Caitlin Clark playing women's basketball, or if you're not the NCAA tournament playing women's basketball, you got nothing.
Here's the truth. No one's saying WNBA players don't deserve respect or recognition, but demanding more money from a league that's barely staying afloat? That's not bold, it's delusional. And when it's coming from someone like Angel Reese, who's been in the league for what feels like 5 minutes, acting like she's already got the power to call the shots, it's even more baffling. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is out there doing what she does best, dropping dimes, shattering records, and building a legacy. And guess what? She doesn't need tantrums or threats of walkouts. She lets her game speak for itself. On the other hand, Angel Reese is still trying to figure out how to make a layup without becoming a meme. So next time Angel talks about sitting out, maybe someone should remind her that fans are already sitting out when it comes to watching her games.
The veteran point guard, coming in between the veteran free agency. This is a perfect opportunity now for Bailey Champlin as young point guard.
The 2025 WNBA draft was meant to be a night of celebration, a spotlight moment where rising stars took their place in the league's future. But instead of a smooth coronation of new talent, the night veered into chaos. Hailey Van Lith, a fiery and confident guard fresh off a strong college run, didn't just show up. She made an entrance and then took a stunning swipe at Caitlin Clark, the reigning face of women's basketball. What followed wasn't just drama, it was a full-blown spectacle that stunned fans, analysts, and players alike. And the wildest part, it wasn't just a bold statement, it was a careering misstep that humbled Van Lith before she ever stepped on a WNBA court. Imagine being at the Shed in Hudson Yards, New York City, buzzing with excitement. The 2025 draft was a big deal. Riding the wave of a record-breaking year for the WNBA, Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever superstar, had transformed the league in her rookie season, drawing massive crowds, spiking TV ratings, and landing lucrative broadcast deals. Her long-range shooting and playmaking had fans comparing her to NBA legends, and her impact was undeniable. The draft, featuring names like Paige Buchers and Van Lith, was poised to build on that momentum. But what happens next will leave you speechless. Van Lith, drafted 11th overall by the Chicago Sky, had a story that resonated with many. She'd fought her way through a nomadic college career, playing at Louisville, LSU, and TCU. Known for her grit and relentless energy, she was a player who thrived on proving doubters wrong. Her reunion with Angel Reese, her former LSU teammate, was a draft highlight, promising a dynamic duo in Chicago. But Van Lith wasn't content to just soak in the moment. She had a score to settle, rooted in a college rivalry with Clark that dated back to 2023. In that NCAA Elite Eight game, Clark torched LSU for 41 points, leaving Van Lith and her teammates in the dust. The image of Clark's "you can't see me" gesture became a viral taunt, and Van Lith hadn't forgotten. And this is where things go completely off the rails. During a pre-draft segment, Van Lith was thrown a playful question: start, bench, or cut 3 WNBA stars, Diana Taurasi, Sabrina Ionescu, and Caitlin Clark. It was meant to be a fun icebreaker, but Van Lith saw an opportunity. With cameras rolling and the crowd hanging on her every word, she chose to start Taurasi, bench Ionescu, and cut Clark. The arena fell silent for a split second before erupting in murmurs. Social media lit up like a wildfire. Fans couldn't believe she'd gone after the league's biggest star so brazenly. But here's what they're not telling you: Van Lith wasn't done yet. In her post-selection interview, Van Lith doubled down. She didn't mention Clark by name, but her words cut deep. She talked about grinding her way to the pros, implying some players had been handed fame on a silver platter. The jab was clear. Clark, the media darling, was her target. It was a bold move, one that screamed confidence but reeked of miscalculation. Van Lith thought she was crafting an underdog narrative, but she just poked the bear, and you'll never guess how it ends. The backlash was immediate and relentless, with fans tearing into Van Lith's comments as bitter and unnecessary. They flooded the internet with stats comparing her college career to Clark's. Van Lith's numbers were solid, nearly 20 points a game at Louisville, 18 at TCU. But Clark's were otherworldly. She'd rewritten the NCAA record books, becoming the all-time leading scorer while leading Iowa to back-to-back national championship games. Her stat lines looked like they belonged in a video game, and her impact went beyond the court, selling out arenas and boosting the WNBA's profile. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, the WNBA community piled on. ESPN analysts were floored. One called Van Lith's comments envy dressed up as confidence. Another pointed out the irony. Clark's rise had made the 2025 draft the second most watched in WNBA history. With 1.25 million viewers tuning in, by shading the player who'd put the league on the map, Van Lith wasn't just starting a rivalry, she was alienating the very fans and players she'd need to succeed. Even current WNBA stars took notice, with some quietly unfollowing Van Lith on social media. The message was clear: you don't come for the queen unless you're ready to back it up. But what happens next is truly insane. The real gut punch came from Clark herself, though not in the way you'd expect. While Van Lith's words were dissected online, Clark stayed silent. No tweets, no interviews, no petty clapbacks. Instead, she let a single moment speak for her. A cold, knowing smile caught on camera as Van Lith threw her shade. It was the same look Clark had worn in college when opponents tried to get under her skin, right before she buried them with a deep three. Days later, she was spotted at a youth basketball camp, coaching kids and signing jerseys for hours. The contrast was stark. Van Lith was chasing clout while Clark was building a legacy. And here's where everything changes. Just weeks after the draft, Clark made headlines by stepping onto the court during a Pacers game to toss out merch, stealing the spotlight in the process. No other rookie had ever drawn this much attention. In a preseason matchup, she reminded everyone why she's the league's biggest attraction, dropping 28 points, handing out 8 assists, and pulling down 5 rebounds. She hit deep threes and ran the offense like a veteran. Meanwhile, the cameras caught Van Lith still in warm-ups, waiting for her moment. Social media erupted, flooding timelines with memes of Clark cooking while Van Lith looked on from the bench. The numbers told the story. Clark's rookie season was historic, with records for most points by a rookie guard, most assists by a rookie, and the first ever rookie triple-doubles in WNBA history. She was named Player of the Month and Rookie of the Month in the same month, a first in league history. Van Lith, meanwhile, had yet to log a single professional minute. Stick around because this next part is huge. The WNBA community didn't hold back. An anonymous player reportedly said, "You earn your place with buckets, not by running your mouth on draft night." A veteran praised Clark for bringing more money and exposure to the league, urging Van Lith to show some respect. League executives knew Clark's value better than anyone. Ticket sales had skyrocketed over 300% since her draft declaration, and her merchandise accounted for nearly half of all league sales. New broadcast deals with ESPN and Amazon, quadrupling primetime exposure, were tied directly to her star power. Clark wasn't just a player, she was a one-woman economic engine. And if you think that's bad, just wait, because Van Lith's troubles were just beginning. Behind the scenes, the fallout was brutal. Reports emerged that multiple teams had passed on drafting Van Lith, wary of her attitude and potential to disrupt locker room chemistry. One scout, speaking anonymously, said she was talented but no Caitlin, and teams didn't want drama over production. The Chicago Sky took a chance on her, banking on her connection with Reese to smooth things over. But even that came with pressure. Reese had navigated her own rivalry with Clark, learning to share the spotlight. Van Lith, it seemed, was still chasing it. And the final twist? It's something no one expected. The WNBA season opener pits the Sky against Clark's Fever, and it's already the most anticipated game of the year. For Van Lith, it's a chance to prove her words weren't empty. But the pressure is crushing. Every missed shot, every turnover, every moment she's on the court will be compared to Clark's performance. Fans are already hyping Clark to drop another 40, with memes predicting a humbling for Van Lith. Her draft night comments didn't just start a feud, they set an impossible standard for a rookie yet to prove herself. And by the end of this, you'll understand why this is so important. Clark, meanwhile, remains unfazed. She's not here for the drama or the headlines. She's in the gym, as shown by her going 50 for 54 from 3 on her birthday. Her focus is on championships, not sound bites. Her rookie season set records, fastest to 100 three-pointers, most assists in an all-star game, and countless franchise milestones. She's not just a star, she's the league's future. With teams reshaping marketing plans and cities bracing for sold-out games when she's in town, Van Lith's jab may have earned her a few retweets, but Clark is earning respect. One jumper, one pass, one packed arena at a time. For Van Lith, the road ahead is steep. She didn't just pick a fight, she picked the wrong one. The WNBA isn't college, where rivalries can thrive on trash talk alone. This is a league finally gaining traction thanks to Clark's hard work and humility. By trying to tear her down, Van Lith misread the room and painted herself as the antagonist, before earning the right to be a rival. Every game she plays will be a referendum on her draft night words, with fans and analysts ready to pounce on every misstep. You'll want to see this through to the end. Trust me. As the dust settles, one thing is clear. Caitlin Clark doesn't need to respond with words. Her game speaks louder than any interview could. Van Lith, on the other hand, has a lot to prove. When the Sky and Fever face off in May, the scoreboard will tell the real story. And that's where everything clicked into place. Because in the WNBA, talk is cheap, and Clark is already cashing checks with every bucket. Is the Van Lith Angel Reese matchup a threat to Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever? Let us know what you think in the comments section below.
It's one. A lot more to come. Shout out our fans. Absolutely incredible. Thank you guys for showing up, showing love to all my teammates. We appreciate you. More to come.
The Chicago Sky just got a harsh reminder. Don't keep Caitlin Clark off the court for 7 months. After her longest stretch away from competitive basketball, Clark delivered a record-breaking triple-double never before seen in a WNBA season opener, powering the Fever to a dominant 35-point win.
They're going to make this rivalry come back, this manufactured rivalry, which, by the way, you guys, the Indiana Fever beat the Sky by nearly 40 points. They won 93-58.
The Sky's issue was clear. They had no response to Clark's brilliance, Boston's control in the paint, or the Fever's relentless defense that limited the Sky to a dreadful 29% shooting. Angel Reese may have pulled down 17 rebounds, but both she and her squad delivered a complete flop from beginning to end. The Fever didn't just win, they made a statement as rising contenders. We'll break down how Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever humbled Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky on opening night.
The regular season is here, and we have no more time for flirting, folks. We have no more time. It's time to get serious about our business. And Caitlin Clark handled her business game 1. 20, 10, and 10. 20, 10, and 10. Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, what do the kids say? Belt to ass. Oh yeah. La cucaracha, la cucaracha. Indiana Fever destroy, obliterate, run out of the gym the Chicago Sky. 93-58.
7 months? That's how long Caitlin Clark had to wait. 7 months since she last played a professional basketball game. 7 months of listening to doubters wonder if she could level up after a stellar rookie campaign. 7 months of Angel Reese talking nonstop to anyone willing to hear her.
It feels like it's gone by fast, yeah. Which I didn't know going into the offseason of how exactly it would feel. I feel like just yesterday it was January and I was itching for like this first game. I was like thinking about this moment, and I mean, you think it will take a long time to get there, but it doesn't. If you just, stay consistent in what you do and follow your routines and, you stay busy, it comes pretty fast. But yeah, it didn't feel slow. I feel like this moment has raced up on us.
Imagine the pressure on someone who's played basketball their whole life. The offseason stretched endlessly as doubts piled up around Clark's game. Could she handle the physical play? Would she reduce her turnovers? And above all, could she turn the Fever into real contenders?
I'm excited to play, excited to get out there and play. I think it's different when it's the first one of the season. Like, you just are really amped up to get out there. A little anxiousness, but nothing I haven't experienced before. I think more than anything, just excited. I think once you eventually get in the building and you get here and you get in your routine of preparing for the game, you're pretty locked in. And honestly, I'm ready to go play right now. Forget warm-ups.
The preseason only made the pressure worse. Clark gave glimpses of her talent, but also faced leg problems that kept her out at times. Critics were watching closely, ready to attack if she stumbled in her season opener. And who was lined up for that first game? Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky. But let's be honest, only Reese and the media act like this is a rivalry. Clark has no rival.
Rivalry is great for sport. Like, I understand that. I grew up loving rivalries. Like, I grew up in Iowa State. That's like a pro matchup in the state of Iowa. Like, I understand that. Or whether it was my high school team, like, I still hate our rival high school, Valley High School. Sorry, I'm sure there's a lot of people from Valley High School that love me and support me now. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you guys, but I wasn't your biggest fan. I didn't like the Tigers growing up. So my parents, my grandfather was the football coach growing up, and Valley was our biggest rival. It was the biggest class in Iowa. And I was taught to, growing up, if we were driving by the high school, to hold my breath because I couldn't breathe that air.
From the first minutes, it was clear something had changed in Clark. The hesitation from her rookie year was gone. No more second-guessing or overanalyzing. She played with a freedom that echoed her Iowa days, like she was back in college, running the show. Her first three-pointer dropped smooth through the net, sharp, confident, effortless. Then came the no-look passes that stunned defenders. The rebounds ripped from taller opponents. The defensive plays no one thought she'd make. This wasn't just Caitlin Clark performing. This was Caitlin Clark making a statement. By halftime, the Fever were up by 19 points. Clark was already on the verge of making history. 7 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists in just one half. What began as a hyped-up showdown had become a performance that silenced every doubt about Clark's impact at the pro level. The second half wasn't about the outcome. The Fever had that locked. It became about the record books. Could Clark keep up her all-around brilliance? The answer came in the fourth, when she grabbed her 10th rebound, sealing a triple-double with 20 points and 10 assists already secured. No one in WNBA history had ever logged a triple-double in a season opener. Not Diana Taurasi, not Candace Parker, not Sue Bird. Caitlin Clark pulled off what none of them had, and she did it in the very first game of her second year. As Clark ran the offense with sharp passes and clutch buckets, the message couldn't be clearer. The 7-month layoff didn't slow her down. It fueled her fire. She wasn't just back, she was better. And for Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky, that meant total collapse.
More than anything, like as a player, you approach the game the same every single time, or you should. That's how you should approach every single game. You prepare the same way, you come ready to play, whether it's the team that's last in the league or the team that's first in the league, it doesn't matter. I think for the fans, it's great, they love it, and I mean, Chicago is the closest team to us. You know, we bus there usually, so I get it geographically. But I think for our team and our group, it's, you know, we prepare the same way every single game. But I expect today to be an awesome game.
Here's where everyone missed the mark. While most expected Caitlin Clark to rack up points, no one predicted the Fever would become a defensive force overnight. Chicago's players came in thinking they were geared up for a shootout. Instead, they found themselves trapped in a nightmare.
All right, y'all. Hey, good stuff. Okay, we did a lot of really good things. I thought our defense was really good, and when we had lapses, we played through possessions. All right, so we made things happen. Y'all, overall, just hell of an effort.
From the very first possession, the Fever unleashed a defensive onslaught that felt like they had 6 players on the floor. They smothered every shot, suffocated passing lanes, and collapsed on every drive with ruthless efficiency. It wasn't just defense, it was chaos, precision, and intensity rolled into one relentless force. The Sky were left gasping. Every move they made met with hands in their faces and bodies blocking their path. Chicago's offense didn't just stall, it imploded. With no room to breathe, their rhythm disappeared and their game plan unraveled. They looked disoriented, hesitant, and outmatched, as if they'd stumbled into a storm they never saw coming. The Fever didn't just play defense, they made a statement, and the Sky had no answer.
Cece, one word to describe today.
Only one word. Unreal. That's fire. Honestly, unreal.
When Caitlin Clark stepped back onto the Carver Hawkeye Arena floor, something magical happened. The crowd erupted to 116 decibels during player introductions, louder than even some NFL and NBA games before she even touched the ball. But when Clark launched a 36-foot three-pointer from the exact spot where she broke Kelsey Plum's NCAA scoring record, the arena literally shook. 7 months away from basketball didn't change a thing. Caitlin Clark's homecoming wasn't just a game. It was a statement about what's coming in 2025. In this video, we'll talk about the magical moments you may have missed during the celebrated game. If you're excited about the upcoming season, comment fired up for the Fever down below.
What does it mean to you to be going back to play at Iowa, but this time with your jersey in the rafters?
Yeah, I'm super excited to go back and play at Iowa. Obviously, a place that has meant a lot to me, and we've had so many amazing games inside that arena. So it'll be fun to be back in front of those fans, and honestly, to get to introduce those fans to all my new teammates. And the Indiana Fever, I think, will be really special because they love supporting all of us. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I know it's gonna be a special day.
What happens when a hometown hero returns after conquering the basketball world? Iowa City gave us the answer, and it was louder than anyone expected. Hours before tip-off, fans lined up outside Carver Hawkeye Arena. They weren't just there for the game. They wanted to see warm-ups to breathe the same air as Caitlin Clark for as long as possible. The line wrapped around the building, people standing in the Mayweather just waiting for doors to open. All this for a preseason game that wouldn't count in any standings.
What are you the most excited to show your teammates around campus?
Ooh. Honestly, I'm most excited to show them how cool Iowa City is. Like, people don't realize how good of a college town that place is. My teammates just expect it to be cornfield, but I'm like, no, it's one of the greatest colleges. So, yeah, downtown Iowa City is where it's at. So we'll give them a little tour, and I'm sure they're gonna wanna come back.
7 months is a long time in basketball. 7 months away from professional competition made us miss every single moment Clark was on the court. What will she do in her first play? Will she hit a logo 3? Those questions got answered the moment Clark stepped onto the court. The roar was immediate. Not just any cheer. We're talking about noise that hit 116 decibels during player introductions. That's louder than most NFL games. Louder than playoff basketball. All for a player introduction in a preseason game.
Yeah, getting to go back to Iowa, it's so exciting. I obviously haven't really been there much since I left about a year ago. And I think just getting to see people that have supported me throughout my career and continue to support me is gonna be incredible. But also, like, they're the biggest Indiana Fever fans too now. Like, they wanna meet all my teammates. They wanna cheer for my teammates. And I was telling some of the girls this the other day, I'm like, they're gonna go crazy for you too.
This wasn't just any arena for Clark. This was Carver Hawkeye, the place where she became a household name, where she broke records that seemed unbreakable, where she turned women's college basketball into must-see TV. Iowa is now called the epicenter of women's basketball because of Clark. The walls of this building had seen her grow from promising freshman to basketball icon, and the fans, they paid an average of $670 per ticket. That's not regular season prices. That's not playoff prices. That's, I need to be there for a historic moment prices. Some drove hours across state lines, took days off work just to see their hero back on her home court.
Good luck finding affordable tickets for the Indiana Fever preseason game against Brazil at Carver Hawkeye Arena. Seats at the arena for the May 4th matchup between the Indiana Fever and Brazil were first offered to season ticket holders and a few top donors. It didn't take long for them to be gone.
Even Clark's teammates understood the significance. Lexi Hull wore a 22 Iowa jersey during pregame. A beautiful gesture acknowledging this wasn't just another game for her teammate. This was a homecoming.
They're gonna have signs about you. They want your autograph. They want a high five from you. And I think that's what I appreciate about them the most is, like, they wanna cheer not only for myself, but everybody else on this team. And they have so much fun watching us. So now getting to take the Indiana Fever to them and their environment, I was telling Lexi and some of the other girls this the other day, is like, this will be the loudest arena you have ever played in. They're gonna scream, they're gonna cheer. When I tell them to get up, they're gonna get up. So it'll be fun to get to go back there since my last time playing there in the NCAA tournament my senior year, so it should be really special.
The emotion hit Clark too. You could see it in her eyes during warm-ups, scanning the familiar arena, now packed to its 15,000 person capacity. This building launched her into basketball immortality, and now she returned as something even bigger, a professional who had changed the game forever. But this homecoming wasn't just about nostalgia and ceremonies. As Clark took the floor for tip-off, it became clear this night wasn't just symbolic. It was the perfect showcase to prove that her connection to Iowa remained unbroken, and her basketball brilliance had only grown stronger during her time away. The ball went up for the opening tip, and the entire arena leaned forward in their seats. Clark settled into position, and that familiar focus returned to her eyes. No one in that arena could have predicted how perfectly the night would unfold for Clark and her teammates. But they were about to find out, and the journey would start with a shot that would bring the house down.
Clark, pull up three. You bet!
In sports, some moments go beyond just points on a scoreboard. They tell a story all by themselves. Right off the jump, Clark hits the first basket, and you guessed it, a three-pointer. Who knew that was just a warm-up to what would happen later in the game when Caitlin Clark pulled up from 36 feet out in the third quarter at Carver Hawkeye Arena? With 25 seconds left on the clock, she took 3 quick dribbles and launched a shot that wasn't just a basket. It was Clark announcing to everyone that she was back.
The better looking possessions of the day for Brazil. Here's Clark. Wow! You bet! From beyond the logo! And a little point afterward.
Early in the game, you could see Clark settling into her rhythm. The same confidence, the same court vision that made her a legend at Iowa was still there. Her movements looked familiar to everyone who had watched her dominate college basketball. The passes were crisp, the decisions quick, the smile unmistakable. The Brazil national team was already struggling to keep up with the Fever's offense when Clark crossed half court with that look in her eyes. You know the one where she sees something nobody else does. The defenders backed up, but not far enough. What made this moment even more special? The exact spot on the floor where Clark pulled up wasn't random. It was the very same location where she had broken Kelsey Plum's scoring record during her senior season. History repeating itself in the most perfect way. Now with her new team and under her retired jersey, without a hint of hesitation, Clark launched the ball from way beyond the three-point line. The shot arched high above the defense in that signature trajectory that Hawkeye fans had seen hundreds of times before. The ball swished through the net without touching the rim, adding that extra touch of magic to an already electric moment. Did you catch the latest? Ben Shapiro just took down Washington Mystics owner Sheila Johnson over her ridiculous comments about Caitlin Clark.
So one of the bizarre controversies of the last week is Caitlin Clark, who is the WNBA's only nameable star. Here, for example, is WNBA team owner Sheila Johnson. Here she is, ripping Caitlin Clark and the fan base for liking Caitlin Clark, saying it's only because Caitlin Clark is white.
In what might as well be an Olympic gold medal for bad takes, Sheila's claiming that Clark didn't deserve Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year title, basically suggesting that everyone in the WNBA should be recognized, except for Caitlin Clark.
Why couldn't they have put the whole WNBA on that cover and said the WNBA is the league of the year because of all the talent that we have? Because when you just keep singling out one player, it creates hard feelings. And so now you're starting to hear stories of racism within the WNBA, and I don't want to hear that. We have got to operate and become stronger as a league and respect everybody that's playing.
You heard that right. This is the ultimate everybody gets a trophy mentality, but cranked up to the max. Shapiro wasted no time shredding Johnson's argument, using his signature rapid-fire style to highlight just how ridiculous her position really is.
You're not putting the entire WNBA on the cover because not everybody can fit and nobody knows who any of those people are. By the way, 31% apparently of the entire Washington Mystics ticket sales this year came in 2 games. I will give you a guess as to which player was featured in those 2 games.
Exactly. Not everyone can fit inside the spotlight, and definitely not the entire WNBA. As for this talk of upliftment, let's not forget that 31% of the Washington Mystics' annual revenue has come from games featuring Caitlin Clark and her team. Are we seriously supposed to pretend Caitlin Clark isn't single-handedly bringing fresh energy to a league that's been struggling to stay relevant?
Look, I'm going to be completely honest about this. I thought what Wizards owner Sheila Johnson said about Caitlin Clark came off as racist. Sheila Johnson is the black billionaire owner of the NHL's Washington Capitals, the NBA's Washington Wizards, and the WNBA's Washington Mystics. Johnson said she did not agree with Time magazine making Caitlin Clark the first ever WNBA player to be Athlete of the Year.
Sheila's claim that Caitlin Clark's success somehow undermines the rest of the league definitely carries a whiff of something darker. It's hard to ignore how that perspective reeks of racism, whether she intended it or not.
And with putting Caitlin Clark on the cover. Johnson said the entire WNBA should have been chosen as the League of the Year and that numerous stars should have been put on the cover. She said the WNBA has a long legacy of black stars and that, and I quote, something clicked with the WNBA last year because of the draft. It's not just Caitlin Clark, it's Reese, as in, of course, Chicago's Angel Reese.
Seriously? Angel Reese doesn't even come close to Caitlin Clark, both in skill and popularity. So why is Sheila so eager to downplay Clark's accomplishments? It's almost like she's trying to diminish something that clearly stands out on its own.
Johnson said, and I quote, "There's so much talent out there that's unrecognized, and I don't think we can pin it on just one player. When you single out one, it creates hard feelings," end of quote. Johnson said, what's been happening to black players on social media, and I quote, has got to stop, in that, and I quote again, this division of racism is going to tear us apart, end quote.
Exactly. Are we seriously going to stop celebrating a player just because others are feeling threatened or jealous? That doesn't sit right, does it? This is straight up unfair treatment. Sheila should be recognizing greatness, not trying to undermine it.
Johnson is saying to me, the majority of WNBA players are black and have always been black, that basketball belongs more to black players than to white, and that it's not healthy for the league to have a white player featured as Athlete of the Year on the cover of Time. Now, I'm pretty sure if WNBA MVP Asia Wilson had made the cover of Time as Athlete of the Year, Johnson wouldn't have had any problem with that. Just not the white girl.
Absolutely. What Sheila's implying is that we should start picking and choosing who gets praise based on the color of their skin, rather than their talent or achievements. It's absurd on so many levels, and frankly, it's a huge disservice to the game and the players who deserve recognition.
But this person put this on as a quote to this video. Sheila Johnson's worth $850 million and she doesn't put a penny back into the neighborhood she comes from. Very interesting. She doesn't even come back to her high school to show little black girls that they can become her. My little cousins go to the same high school. They don't even know she exists. Very interesting indeed.
Did you catch that? It turns out Sheila might be guilty of the very thing she's accusing Caitlin Clark of. That's right. She supposedly doesn't do charity or encourage the black kids in her community to become billionaires like herself. Talk about hypocrisy at its finest, folks.
Well, the league has always been woke, has always had an agenda. The league and the sports media, the establishment sports media that is, and their surrogates. Always. And they pride themselves on that.
It's become pretty clear that the WNBA has a lot of politics playing out behind the scenes. Could this be what's been holding the league back all these years? It's hard not to wonder if these power struggles and biases are part of the reason the league hasn't reached the level of recognition and success it deserves.
But since Caitlin Clark stepped into the waters with the Time magazine interview, it's almost like you're gonna see more people, more comments, more demands. You're going to see it's going to be less and less about basketball, what you want to see, and it's going to be a whole lot of this stuff because it's like she ripped off another layer of the onion, and this one is a big one. And so now people feel like they can just go all in.
Exactly. Sheila's opposition to Caitlin Clark seems rooted in the fact that, like many so-called woke figures, she's recognized that Clark isn't playing by the usual political playbook. Instead of bending to certain narratives or pushing an agenda, Clark is simply focused on earning her success through talent. And that's something that doesn't sit well with people who expect athletes to follow their scripted roles.
But this, of course, is the Mystics owner that said that Caitlin Clark should give up her Time Magazine award and give it to the entire WNBA. Of course, that has now become a running joke, and the mother of all community checks came down here and nailed her. 31% of Mystics' total home attendance for the 2024 season came from the 2 games versus Caitlin Clark and the Fever.
Newsflash, Sheila, sports thrive on competition, not on the equality of outcome. Claiming that Caitlin Clark doesn't deserve to be singled out is like saying LeBron James should share his accolades with the benchwarmers just because of team effort. That's not how greatness works. Individual brilliance deserves recognition, and Clark has earned every bit of it.
It's important that we say, you know what? You want to go all in? You want to go in, people with a lot of nonsense? Then guess what? We're going to go in too, and we're going to expose the nonsense.
Exactly. A lot of these racist attitudes flourish when there's no pushback or challenge. That's why speaking out isn't just an option, it's a responsibility. If we stay silent, we're allowing these harmful views to persist unchecked. It's crucial to stand up and call out hypocrisy when we see it.
What it is. A lot of times, like you, we're just like, we just want to let's just play basketball. But then when they start saying nonsense, like when the owner of a WNBA team, Sheila Johnson, Washington Mystics, when she says some of the stuff like she said that people are talking about today, it's like, okay, you want to play hardball? Then let's play.
Absolutely. Caitlin Clark isn't just a great player. She's a mythical juggernaut and a cultural icon. She's rewriting the rules of the game, and her numbers prove it. She's not just good, she's the best. And anyone who tries to deny that is ignoring the undeniable facts.